take it no more. Gecko! Gecko! He called wearily, trudging up the hill to consult Radin, the chief's jungle. See all the fire?
Hello from Bali. I'm Dr. Varshini and I'm going to read a story to you. It's called Gecko's Complaint. This is a Balinese folktale retold by Anne Martin Bowler, illustrated by Guste Made Sukananda. An enormous gecko once lived on the island we now call Bali, in a jungle dense with flowers and vines. Gecko's jungle had so many insects, he hardly had to move to find his supper. When a mosquito buzzed by his banyan tree, he just flicked out his long, sticky tongue, and he caught his dinner. See him here in the tree? Can you see 3 other animals you know? There. Gecko could do things other animals only wish they could do. He could run up the trees and across the branches, hanging on by the tiny hooks on the end of his toes. If he lost his tail, he would grow a new one, and it was stronger than the last. Gecko loved to prowl around at night. His loud clicking sound, Gecko! Gecko! woke the jungle animals from their sound sleep. They considered him a careless, self-centered fellow. This is nighttime in the jungle. See the stars and the moon? However, Gecko had complaints of his own. His jungle neighbors often interrupted his sleep. Sometimes woodpecker drummed on his tree all through the night. Other times, just as Gecko was dozing off, fireflies would gather in great numbers. They would fly around him, lighting up the evening sky, their red and yellow spots glowing like sparks of fire. One evening, the fireflies gathered around Gecko's banyan tree. It began with one single, small flicker. The rest of the fireflies flashed in response, sending waves of light up and down the jungle. Their sparks were so bright, they seemed to change night into day. The fireflies flashed on hour after hour until Gecko could take it no more. Gecko! Gecko! he called, wearily trudging up the hill to consult Radin, the jungle's chief. Look at them, disturbing his sleep.
This had better be important, said Chief Radin, dragging himself out of bed. It's the middle of the night.
Oh, it's important, Chief, Gecko replied hastily. I can't sleep. The fireflies keep flashing their lights.
The lion smiled. Well, we seem to have the same problem. The fireflies disturb you and you disturb me.
Yes, said Gecko, feeling ashamed. I wouldn't complain, sir, but I just can't sleep.
I'll look into it,
Radin promised. Ooh, what kind of animal do you think Radin, the king of the jungle, is? A lion. How beautiful. Early the next morning, the lion paid a visit to the fireflies, asking,
Why do you bother others? Night is to be peaceful, quiet time in our jungle.
The fireflies answered meekly, We meant no harm by our flashing. Woodpecker was drumming all night, sending signals of alarm. We were just passing his message on. Radin had no trouble finding Woodpecker. Her loud hammering echoed far and wide.
Please explain your endless tapping, demanded the lion.
Woodpecker explained quickly. Black Beetle leaves manure all over the jungle path. She must be stopped before we all get sick from this filthy dung. I've been tapping to warn the others.
This is a serious matter, Radin agreed. I will find Beetle immediately.
Black Beetle, plump and gleaming like polished copper, was busy rolling her filthy loads when Chief Radin arrived. Beetle stopped working and humbly explained, Water Buffalo strolls down the path often, sir, and drops his patties of manure as he walks. I'm only doing my duty by cleaning the pathway. Radin, worn out by all the complaining, set out for home. Before leaving, he instructed Black Beetle, Send Water Buffalo to me the moment you see him. Water Buffalo rushed to Chief Raden's home, ready to defend himself. No one understands my work. Rain makes huge potholes in the jungle path. I leave my dung on the pathway to fill up these holes, making it easier for all to travel. The lion let out a loud roar that shook the jungle. Weary from endless complaints, yet unwilling to give up, Raiden decided to speak to the rain directly. He set out for Mount Batur, a tall mountain where rain is always near. Storm clouds gathered as the lion lumbered up the mountain. The blowing wind made his climb very difficult. When he reached Mount Batur's highest peak, Chief Raiden roared very loudly, "Rain, why are you ruining the jungle pathways and causing so many problems for the animals?" While waiting for Rain's reply, Chief Raiden dropped to the ground in exhaustion. Looking out over Bali, he saw sparkling rivers, blue skies filled with drifting clouds, and endless hills of green. Raindrops fell, cooling his tired body. Wind blew his worries far, far away. Raiden then understood. He was asking a very foolish question. Resting there, he thought of all who benefit from the rain, the colorful birds, the strong animals, and even the lowly mosquitoes. Raiden smiled, enjoying life around him as he walked towards home. Look at how pretty this view of Bali is. When he arrived home, Chief Raiden summoned Gecko and the other complaining animals. The chief spoke sternly. "Think of the gifts the rain gives to us, the rivers, the many plants of the jungle, and the food that we eat." But all the animals attentive to the king while he's speaking. "And may I remind you, Gecko, that without the rain there would be no mosquitoes, and without mosquitoes you would be a hungry and unhappy fellow." That's a good point. In a powerful voice, Chief Raiden commanded, "Quit your complaining, go home and live in peace with one another." And that is just what the animals of Bali did. Today, Woodpecker is careful not to hammer on Gecko's tree. The fireflies still light up the evening sky, but not too close to Gecko. And Gecko, who grows fatter each day, finds very little to complain about. And they live in harmony together, happily ever after. That's our story time. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll come back again with another story. Have a good day.